Hi, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second. Let me get
Going upstairs, do you want it off?
Yeah, thanks, Simon.
Oh, you know what I mean?
Muted.
What I'm going to do, while I'm talking,
Yeah.
I'm going to sort all the shredding out. You know, get it down from the loft, put the other one up in the loft, sort all the shredding out, I'm going to bag it up. And then, you know, I'm up to it. I can do it. I've done it already, I'm not going to be scrabbling around on the floor then.
No, that's true.
And I can sort it, file it,
right.
we go through it together.
Yeah.
Okay, here I am. Share with me. Me. Local history, here we go. Abbots at the top. Right, so you've labelled them maybe 01 through whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just make some noise on the screen there. Okay. Right. Let me just hang this up. Wait. I need to know any of that other stuff that's behind there.
Let's get a pop-up banner for this end.
Yeah. Well, there is one reason which he never uses. So.
Oh, Neil's got that one. Yeah, hasn't he?
Yeah. So. Right. Okay. So you good to go?
Good to go.
Right. Okay. Here we go then. Oh, we're live. How come we're live already? We've been live for a while. Okay. We chopped that bit out, actually. Anyway, so this is the South West Herts local community TV channel with Dave and I, and this is the history, local history show. Dave, come and say hello.
Good afternoon, Chris. Good afternoon, everybody. Good to be back again.
Yeah, I don't know how that's been going live when I didn't actually plan it to, but anyhow.
Eager to see us. That's what it is, Chris.
Yeah, I might chop that bit off a bit later on, just so as we don't embarrass ourselves. Okay, so today you've been out and about, you've been researching Abbots Langley, which is a very ancient part of our district, and you've got some interesting stuff to share with us today.
I've got some bits and pieces to show you. I mean, again, like most of the places we've been to, there's so much there, and that would take us a long time to go all through it. So I've just taken a few selected bits and pieces from it to talk to people about today. And we've got a little puzzle for people to try and solve for us as well along the way.
A little puzzle, nice. I did say I promise you a curved ball.
You did.
I don't think I haven't got a curved ball, but I'm hoping during the discussion a curved ball will emerge. So, okay. So, should we drop into the pictures?
Drop into the pictures that we've got there. Yeah.
Okay. Here we go then. Let me share the screen. Okay. So here we go. Oops. Don't think that's done it. Let me. Right, here we go. Okay, so can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that. Nice and clear.
Really interesting. The is that it's in Three Rivers, and a lot of people would say it's actually in Watford, but it's actually Three Rivers sort of wraps itself around Watford, doesn't it?
It does. On all sides, it goes right the way round and through out to South Oxley in that way, which again is Three Rivers or parts of there. So yeah, Watford is partially enclosed with Hartsmere on the other side. But no, this is actually on the Bedman Road going into Kings Langley from Hemel Hempstead, and I couldn't find one coming the other way from Watford. There must be one somewhere, so I'm sure.
So whereabouts is this exactly? Is this before the Ovaltine?
Just before the Ovaltine farm.
Okay, where they've got that little chicane going on.
Yeah, it's just past the chicane.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so Abbots Langley always spelt badly with two T's and stuff.
Yeah, always confuses the hell out of me. I know that. I have to keep looking at it and make sure that I haven't put the extra T in.
Or one B.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where it is now.
Right.
Now,
here we have the main building of what was the Leavesden Mental Hospital, which was founded in 1870 by the Metropolitan Asylum Board for chronic imbeciles and paupers. And it sounded an ideal place to put all the poor and idiotic people, just to get them out of the way of everybody else. It was started off to have 1,500 inmates, but it ended up with over 2,000. And from what I can gather talking to you, Chris, that the staff numbers are even greater, so almost a one-to-one basis with the staff.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I grew up not in this place, but adjacent.
They reserved the place for you, though, Chris.
Yeah, some thought that I had a place earmarked in there, but there is. We used to. I mean, I suppose I probably lived 250 yards from this main entrance. Certainly not a lot more than that. And you would often hear the sirens going at night, which meant someone had got out. And they were quite regular. But you get the feeling about this place that they just put people in it who they didn't really know what else to do with.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think that some people were put in there along with their children.
Or even had their children in there, like out of marriage, got pregnant and put in here and had their kids in there, and obviously considered to be completely abnormal.
Well, this is it. It's a completely different age to what we are with now, and it's strange to see that I think you mentioned to me the other day that the children could have been in there with their parents, and parents passed on, and the children had to stay there. Lifetime of institutionalization, which is rather a sad reflection upon society at that time. But again, they didn't have any idea what to do, these people, and they built a lot of these hospitals a lot round our way. We've got Leavesden, Shenley, Harperbury, and Knapsbury as well. And you just think, well, were there that many idiots and lunatics and imbeciles around? There was, of course, a workhouse in there for the paupers. But again, having seen the sort of thing that's symbolised in film in Oliver in the workhouses, not a very pleasant place to be. But it's better than being on the street, I suppose.
And you know, there were this building which you can see, the front building. There were 13 such buildings going backwards from the main road.
Yeah,
like each one was a wing of this size. And behind that, of course, there were just farmland, and that farmland was farmland owned by this hospital, and it was where they provided all the food for the people in there, and of course the staff. But it was acres. I mean, I remember walking these fields with my mum with our dog as a young kid. You know, like we'd walk for miles and miles and miles in what was farmland.
Beyond that, although now we know that this site has been taken over and it's now private residences, and all the couple of roads around there with more things, and even just behind it, just down the hill, there's another big housing estate going up. So they're utilising all this open land that you used to roam in, which was, you know,
well, that bit of land you're referring to is behind Orchard Avenue.
Yeah.
Which has always been just basically fallow land. As far I think they might have had horses on it. But literally, I lived, you know, that bit of the road, Leavesden High Road and Woodside Road, I think it's called, opposite, and Orchard Avenue and Kentford Close. That's where I grew up. So.
Well, one other thing, apparently at one stage, the Jack the Ripper suspect, Aaron Kaminsky, was admitted on April the 19th, 1894. And his insanity took the form of auditory hallucinations, a paranoid fear of being fed by other people, and that drove him to pick up and eat food dropped as litter. And he also refused to wash or bathe. Not a pleasant person to be around by the sound of things.
No, the sort of candidate one would have assumed to go into a place like this.
It sounds like it. I mean, the other thing that goes along with the hospital, and the fact that the length of time people stayed there, the hospital itself had 2 cemeteries, which was, I think there's one of them remains accessible, but the other one has been left to become wooded, and as a condition of the transfer of the land to Three Rivers Council, they require it to remain wooded. So that in amongst the woods around it, there's going to be a lot of graves, whether they're marked with gravestones or not, I don't know. But I had one visit to that place in my younger years, and I actually played cricket against some of the inmates.
Well, funny you should say that. As a young lad, I think I was 10 or 11, I played in the Watford District Table Tennis Championship, and it was played in the hall in the mental hospital. And you know, they have I don't know what possessed them, but they had a viewing gallery overlooking the main hall so that people could watch the inmates. I don't know whether it was like considered to be a Sunday afternoon Victorian outing or something. But
look at the way we're looking after these people.
Sorry?
It's just to show them the way we're looking after these people and what they...
I don't know. I have no idea, but it was very odd, and it was anyway, we played the table tennis tournament in there, and quite often the inmates would watch, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the hospital also had its own chapel, which I think is the next slide we have there.
Okay,
they were looking after their spiritual needs as well, I should think. Or was that just the sorry to say, the funerals.
Yeah, no, there was another building. I don't know whether you're aware of this. You know, as you come down Tibbs Hill and you come to the little mini roundabout, and you go straight over the roundabout up the hill.
Yeah.
And as you're going down, on the left-hand side, there's another sort of tower.
Yeah. Again, was part of the complex.
Yeah.
It was separated into two. I mean, that other building had a lot of different uses, including a quarantine hospital for smallpox at one stage, and army had been billeted there during the wars. I think it was part of the St Albans mental asylum. But I mean, we've changed labels on these people now. We don't call them idiots, morons, lunatics. The language has modified, and we've changed our outlook, and we take them into care in the community, which most of them end up in Westminster, I think.
Yeah, it's a nice looking building though, that chapel, but it's good.
It's very good.
I think they haven't been able to modify, but I think they built onto the front of it, the other side of it, because the charity demand that make everything but wheelchairs for people with difficulties, and they make all sorts of things in there for people who have got some kind of disability, but not wheelchair.
Yeah, I mean, people now are determined to have special needs. I suppose that's a more polite. The other words used seem to either be now taboo or just not really acceptable, because it's the stigma has been taken away more than anything else of that particular thing. You know, the lunatic thing. You're going into a mental asylum, the lunatic asylum.
Yeah.
Of course, that big one in London, which gave rise to a lot of it, Bedlam.
Right.
Was the big one in London, which is, you know, when things used to go wrong, and so the whole place is in Bedlam.
Yeah.
So that's one where that came from. But again, that fortunately is gone as well. But I think there could still be a need for some more care for some of these people that still won't be able to handle life outside. But you never know. Government
places now.
Right. Here we have the Ovaltine farm entrance. What a lovely building that is. That it's still exactly the same sort of Tudor type building, thatch roof. It looks absolutely fantastic. And just a little bit further along is a big sign saying for dairy and poultry, because these people set the standards for farm production in barley, milk and eggs, which are of course the main ingredients for Ovaltine, which I know my co-host Chris enjoys. I
do have the odd milky Ovaltine before I go to bed these days. Yeah, very. Well, my mum and sister used to work at the Ovaltine, as I mentioned the other week. So, the Ovaltine fields, as we knew them, was where we took the dogs out for walking and stuff. So, yeah, fond memories of these places. And I remember that when it's closed, actually, and it was turned into housing, because you could buy these places. But it's a bit of a sad day, because part of the old local heritage of dairy and farming and stuff gone, you know.
I mean, it's an end of an era. I mean, were you like me, Chris, one of the Ovaltines?
Well, we were brought up on Ovaltine, and I always remember my mum and dad saying we can have a milky drink before we went to bed. You know, like.
I won't burst into song to frighten anybody who might be listening away. But,
we are the Oval. No, don't do it.
We used to listen to it on the radio. I mean, it was a great thing. They sponsored a radio show, and that was it. We are the Ovaltines.
I shall go into my mother's loft and I shall retrieve some of the Ovaltine cups, which bizarrely have no handle. It's like a real. Who invented them? I have no idea. Obviously, trying to sell Ovaltine because you kept spilling it.
The more you spilled, the more you needed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, lovely building though.
It is beautiful, absolutely. And into the village itself, here we have St Lawrence Church. This is on a site which was probably originally occupied by a Saxon church. Norman.
Was it 1069 or 70 or something?
Well, we're talking possibly a little later than that, because the Norman nave was added there in between 1140 and 1150. So the Normans they came in obviously in 1066 with William the Conqueror, William I, or whatever other people would like to call him. And the church was dedicated to St. Lawrence the Martyr in 1154.
Right.
The tower was on the church, which is a classic Norman tower, was built between 1190 and 1200. But again, it's a classic Norman type church. But,
I know it well. I served in that church for a while.
Did you?
Well, I got married there.
Did you indeed? Oh my word! So you know more about it than I do.
Yeah,
again,
opposite there
is a typical village church.
Yeah, and it is very, very old, and but as you can see in the background is the rectory, the white building in the back.
Yeah,
where the vicar lived. So.
Just the other side of the church, abutting the church, is some new buildings, sort of meeting rooms and things like that. I think to add.
Yeah,
to
they were doing. I don't that bit at the front, which the door goes through, has been added as well, which is a bit naff really. But anyway.
Yeah. But once you go inside the church, then you find out about the most notable person from Abbots Langley.
Should I move on to that man?
To that one. Here we have a plaque in the Bedmont parish about Nicholas Breakspear, or Pope Adrian IV, the only English pope, and he came from this area. So it's one of those things that say as the sole English pope, and I wonder if we'll ever have another one. I much doubt it, because we're not a Catholic country these days as it probably was back then.
Yeah, Tony Blair probably going for it.
Well, after our things with Henry VIII and dissolution of the monasteries and the moving around of lands and things like that, it's strange to say that an English pope here in basically a Church of England church.
And of course there is no consecrated. Well, there is a consecrated church. It's the Tin Church in Bedmont, but there's no church like we know it there.
No.
And that church is periodically they'll have a service over there, but it's very much once a month or twice a month type thing.
Yeah. Again, it's strange. There's lots of interesting things within the church. Again, I've only picked on two particular things. It was this one, and the next one we're going to have a look at, which says it all in what it is there, in memory of George Rankin, Major George Rankin from the Royal Engineers, last British officer killed at Sebastopol in 1850. He was just 28 years old. Which someone of my age seems a long while ago.
He'd be quite old now, wouldn't he? He'd be.
Well, if he was 28 in 1850, so he was born in what?
1856. It says there. Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay, so 28.
So he was born in 1828.
Yeah. So
200 years ago now.
Yeah. Yes, he'd be drawing a lot of pension by now. But again, this is it reminds us of the wars that we've had around. There's a nice big newly cleaned war memorial actually in the grounds of the church, and listing all the people from the area that were lost during the Great War and World War II and any others in between. And it's a sad reflection of humanity, I think, that these things happen. And,
absolutely.
I don't think we'll ever stop having wars.
Well, we can live in hope, David. That's what we're here to sort out, isn't it? We're here to have conversations, not fight.
Well, here we have, just opposite the church, is the Crescent.
And a couple of Audis.
A couple of Audis, indeed. And there was my Skoda on the other side, all the same company, but we won't go into that. I put the Crescent there because there's a notable person who lives in the Crescent still. and this is an Olympic gold medalist, which is a person by the name of Judy Grinham, and she won a gold medal swimming at the Melbourne Olympics.
Now, where is that exactly? Is it if you're facing the church, is it to the right of the church, opposite the library?
Yeah, right opposite the library.
Right opposite the library. Okay, so that's the little crescent there next to where they had that massive building. There used to be a monastery there, didn't they? Or
yeah, there is a big Catholic church just around the side of that, and on that building you can see just on the right hand side there is a sign about God and the church, I think, as well.
But there was it used to be, it was a massive building. I think they've turned it into housing now. But there was a massive white building, and I think it was like a monastery, not Catholics, but a monastery for monks or nuns or something.
Which would go over the name of the village, would it? Would it not? Abbots.
Yeah, and they turned it. It then became, a few years back, because I know somebody went there. It was an allergy clinic.
All right.
And they had special rooms where people could go in, and it was completely free of allergens, in an attempt to allow them some respite from being attacked, as it were, by all these things in the air. Some people who are severely, susceptible to different bits and pieces.
These things can be very debilitating, and it's not for them. I mean, various different allergies, and I mean, even hay fever can be really, really bad.
Yeah, well, this person, I remember, he lived in what's the roads down St Albans Road, number 4 and 3 and 2. What's the name of them roads? Something 4 and
oh, First Avenue, Second Avenue.
Oh yeah, that's it. He lived down in 4th Avenue, and he was often in this hospital around the corner. It was a hospital, effectively, but it used to be a monks, and now I think it's been sold off, and I think they've turned it into flats. But if you go left here a bit further, it's just down on that, right on the bend, but in the trees that you're coming into Abbots Langley on the left. It's behind them.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, interesting. So, Olympic swimmer from Melbourne.
Yeah. Swimming gold.
When was the Melbourne Olympics?
Sorry?
When was the Melbourne Olympics?
I couldn't hazard a guess at the moment.
Was that 2000?
Because I mean, we've had the Sydney Olympics since then. So it's got to be in, I think, the 80s or 90s.
80s, yeah. Now this house, right?
Yeah.
And I know this is your question because we talked about it, but it's puzzled me all my life.
It seems completely out of keeping with the rest of the area.
It's such an unusual property, and I know it's masonettes or been converted into flats now.
Yeah.
But what a weird building! What a weird building! I especially like the chimneys and stuff. But what a weird building!
If there's anyone out there who knows anything about this building, please get in touch with us. Let us know. So Chris has lived just around the corner from this for most of his life, and he has no idea. I've lived in Watford for 30 odd years. I've got no idea. I can't find any references to it. I'm sure there are historical societies out there that know these things and can tell us and help us inform our viewers more. And that's our puzzle of the week, really.
It's just a very odd building, isn't it? Very, very unusual. I remember them renovating it and turning it into something, but I had no idea what it was.
It looks almost sort of fortress-like building, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, and of course behind it you've got housing estate, a massive house. Yeah, that's the old council. Abbeyfield, is it?
Is that something like that? Some house present to the left, is it? Just a bit further up.
Yeah, there's an entrance into it, Abbey something or other, I think it's called. But yeah, fascinating building, that one. Always wondered what it was. Who's this thing?
Right. We're going on to this is our last slide, but that's hello, she's gone.
Is it the last slide?
It's our last slide, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So I closed.
This is the Labour Euro MEP, Errol McNally, who came from the area. One of the only pictures that I could actually get up onto the show, but having looked through the list of notable people within the area, we get someone more up to date is Bradley Walsh, the actor and game show presenter.
Well, yeah. Now, good. Well, I'll just turn the sharing there off now. But yeah. So good old Bradley. He went to Francis Coombs School, and he was in the same class as my sister.
I bet she had a right time there.
Well, funnily enough, him and I were in discussions back in the 90s about starting a comedy club in Watford. And where we were going to do it is, the car park where the back of RBS is.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, in that little road that you can enter from Clarendon Road, opposite the Palace Theatre, you can drive around the back. There's this old building behind there. I think it's owned by the council, to be honest, but it's an upstairs area and it's quite big, but it just sits there, and I don't know what they use it for. But there was a potential that we could have grabbed that, snaffled that, and turned into a comedy club.
Yeah, that's the old Clements car park, isn't it, around the back there?
Oh, well, it isn't. It's not as far round as that. If you go down that little road, off Clarendon Road,
yeah,
you've got the car park behind Rennie's and stuff. You've got that car park there, and then on the other side of the road, immediately on the other side of the road, not the Clements building, which is in front of you, but opposite, but the other side of the car park is this building I'm talking about.
Yeah,
the old building.
Right. Oh, but they ended up with jonglers.
Yeah, ended up with jonglers. Yeah,
yeah. Even better than that, now we have yellow comedy going around the area.
Yeah. Well, Bradley grew up in Marlin Square, which is in Abbots Langley, right in the centre of, not in the centre, but just up the road, down the road from where good old bakers were and all that lot. I used to walk up there all the time, and I used to get my car MOT'd in Marlin Square. There was a garage there.
I think there's another person who lived in Marlin Square, if I'm absolutely right, which is Liz Kendall, who was also a Labour politician.
And Jean Flower, of course, lived in Marlin Square.
Yeah, good old Jean. But we have some surprising things in there. I mean, Robert Kindersley, who was the first Baron Kindersley. Yeah, Judy Grinham we've mentioned. Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia. He spent the early part of his exile down at Hazelwood, which we now know as Hunton Park. So he was there for a few years when he.
Well, what was that when he was there then? Did he hire out the whole place, or?
Well, I don't know if he could, or whether because he was in exile, whether he could take any of his money with him or not, or whether it was held back in the country. It might well be the British government were assisting in that thing to have him over.
I don't know who owned the property, because of course it was owned by De Vere's until recently, and it's changed hands again.
Yeah, it has changed hands on several occasions. But I think the person with the biggest needs the biggest round of applause, and probably have the ladies gasping a bit, is one Elizabeth Greenhill. Now, Elizabeth Greenhill was the mother of 37 single births and one set of twins.
So did she populate the whole of the road on her own? Is this what she was trying to do?
Indeed, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Her youngest, her 39th child, actually became a very qualified surgeon. So not the sort of thing you'd expect from 37, 39 children. Money must have been fairly tight. But for someone from that sort of clan to qualify as a surgeon must have been quite a feat in at the time.
39 children. I mean,
well, we marvelled last week at Mr. Carter, who had 9 children by two wives. That's 18, and this woman's got 39 by herself.
I mean, 39 children. I mean, if you had one a year, that's 15 to 44.
It's incredible.
54.
Yeah, I mean, I think she deserves at least a round of applause for something like that. But
is that the most babies? Except her last one was a twin, wasn't it?
no, she had 39 separate single births and one set of twins. It doesn't actually say where the twins came in. They might have been in the middle of the 37 or not. It's the case maybe because, well, I don't think they were particularly last because, as I say, her last 39th child was a surgeon, so he wouldn't have necessarily, as a twin, be the last, let's say. Although,
I don't know how many survived for a while. Or when was that? What era?
It hasn't got a date on it. It just mentioned this fact that she was there, and you're thinking, well, my word, that's a hell of a thing to be doing. It's almost a factory farming sort of situation. Pardon the expression. But again, families back in time used to be so much bigger than they are today. In general terms, we still get a few families that you're talking 14, 15 children, possibly, but 39. What sort of house would they have to live in? Perhaps it was Hunton Park.
Well, it would have been a road, wouldn't it?
It's one of those things that's a bit beyond comprehension, really, I think, in this day and age.
People struggle with 3, not 33.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so Abbots Langley, any final bits and pieces on it?
Only that I find it very fascinating. I haven't, apart from the major that is commemorated in the church, which is a very memorable thing, the last officer killed at Sebastopol. Isn't that where they got the cannons for the Victoria Cross? Something like that, they captured some cannons and they made the Victoria Crosses out of these cannons from some war or other. But again, it's a notable point in history, and I don't think many people will have heard of him. So again, one of those things
there is. I put the link to this on the Abbots Langley Matters group on Facebook, but there are bound to be people with years and years of history, because you've got a massive house right next to the church called Abbots House.
Yeah,
and I believe the town doctor used to live there, but I suspect that all sorts of people have lived there.
Again, yeah, it's one of those things. I say there's a lot of history there, as in all the places we visited. That each one we could probably do at least a week on each one. But,
we could even have a quiz.
We can do a quiz in Abbots Langley. Find a venue for it and do a history of Abbots Langley quiz.
Yeah,
if you're interested, please contact Chris or myself.
There's plenty of opportunity there. I would suspect that the Royal Oak would be more than happy to accommodate.
I'm sure it would. Have a word with the landlord next time we're up there.
Fabulous.
So what are we
okay, David?
Next time?
So next time, 2 weeks' time, what are we up to? Oh, it's bank holiday, isn't it?
Is it bank holiday?
Is it bank holiday?
No. When?
3rd, 10th. No, it's 3 weeks.
Yeah, 16th is Easter. So we've got, I think we'll be straddling Easter, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, but well, we've done Croxley Green, we've done Bushy, we've done Abbots and Kings and Watford. How about
Have we done Kings Langley?
We've done Kings Langley.
We did, didn't we? Yeah. So
that was the last one we did.
Vicky.
Rickmansworth. Sounds a good place.
Rickmansworth, here we go.
Doesn't that?
We need to tap up Les Mead. Les Mead's your man.
Les Mead, yeah, good. Yeah. So I shall have a wander around Rickmansworth and have a look and see what's there, get some snaps and get another slideshow for you. Get people talking about it.
Fabulous stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
One very famous place in there that we know already.
Yeah, and thanks for coming on and doing your research. It's been very interesting once more. So thank you for you. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you get a chance to see this and you've got some comments, things you want to say, just chip in, please do so. Contact Dave at Desaw, D-E-S-A-W, on Twitter. I'm at Chris Ogle, or find us in the Abbots Langley Matters or on Facebook.
Lovely.
Thank you, David.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Thank you.
And goodbye from both of us.
Goodbye.